Hi everyone, welcome to the channel dedicated to sharing the profound insights and wisdom of Andromedan contactee Alex Collier. If you're new here, you're in for a journey that expands your mind and consciousness, bringing you closer to understanding the messages from the fifth density Andromedan extraterrestrials. For those returning, we're grateful for your continued support. Before we dive into today's enlightening content, we have a small favor to ask. If you find value in the knowledge shared in this video, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps us amplify Alex Collier's message, allowing us to reach a larger audience with these vital messages. We'd also love to hear from you, so please engage with the comments below. Whether it's a question, your thoughts, or even just an emoji for the sake of engagement, every comment counts. We read every single comment, and your feedback is incredibly valuable to us, as it all contributes to our mission of expanding this community. So please don't hesitate to leave your thoughts below. Additionally, if you'd like to support us further, consider giving a super thanks tip by clicking the heart with the $sign. This small gesture allows us to continue bringing you more of Alex's messages, unfiltered and directly from his lifelong experiences with the Andromedans. Today's video includes a compilation of several of the many important questions Alex Collier has received over the past few years, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video.
Will there be personal debt forgiveness?
That question got me there, Michael. Miss Lovely, I have heard rumors that there will be. A reset would imply a do-over. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it all works out. I would think that if they're really wanting to do this right and really wanting to truly free humanity from this horrible paradigm and narrative that we've been living under, courtesy of the Orion Group and the banking syndicate, who have created wars and all this, that they would do that. They would basically say, hey, guess what? The home is yours. The cars are yours. That's a redo over, a reset. Companies, debts are forgiven. I would think it would go across the board. I would think that's how it's going to happen. It would be wonderful to think that that's the way it's going to be. But we'll have to see. I don't think we're going to have to wait much longer. I really don't. Things are moving very, very quickly behind the scenes. And that's the way they want it. That's the way they want it. It could flip overnight to a whole new system. And that may be just the way it happens. Because the last thing you want to do is create more fear. And most people don't understand the financial system we've been living under anyway. How it's all debt. It's all enslavement. Most people don't have any idea what it really is and what it really represents. The Federal Reserve note is a private banking instrument. We don't own it. The United States doesn't own it. It belongs to a private banking consortium. All we do is borrow it with interest, which is then passed on to the people through various programs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the debt can never be repaid because the debt is never printed. Therefore, it doesn't exist. So the debt is in perpetuity. That is no way for anybody to live. There is nothing about that that yells and screams freedom and sovereignty to anything or anybody. And they know it. And they know it. They had their 100-something year run, and it's over. Or it's coming to an end. It's coming to an end. And it has to. Humanity will never, ever, ever reach its potential under a system like this. And that's why that system was put in place, was to make sure that we would never break free, at least consciously, break free of all this nonsense. You know, why do we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on? Shit, that still haunts me. That still haunts me. You know?
In terms of negotiations taking place with the secret space program moving forward, rather than reinventing the wheel, why not tear a page out of another star system successful playbook that has been proven to work and serve the needs of their own citizens?
How do you know that's not happening?
Good question.
More than likely, that's exactly what's happening. However, that has to be, the conditions have to be implemented here on this planet. And if those conditions, which exist on a free and sovereign planet with a benevolent race, in order for those to be implemented honestly, genuinely, with true authenticity here, then the people who are to carry out those things must have that same commitment to making sure that they're carried out in all authenticity, in all benevolence. That would take some doing, especially when you are fighting at the same time a incredibly corrupt, evil consciousness that has had control of the planet for thousands of years. It doesn't just happen overnight. I mean, the fleet knows what it's doing because it's been doing it. It knows what it needs. It knows exactly what kind of support it needs. What it doesn't have is trust that it's going to be done here. Because the people that have to be put in place, the processes that have to be put in place to make sure that they have what they need in order to survive, in order to carry out their mission, to be S.H.I.E.L.D. Have you guys seen Captain America, the Winter Soldier? Folks, that screenplay has a lot of reality in it. A lot of reality in it. And if you haven't seen it, you should. Okay, there's a lot of truth in that specific movie. You know, S.H.I.E.L.D's our space fleet. Okay? They need things. They need to know that it's going to be there. This is why they don't want to deal with bureaucrats, because they're liars. They will say anything and do anything for power, and they know it. Okay? Shit. It's really messed up down here. And it hasn't sorted itself out yet. It just hasn't. It's not about just the money. Okay? It's not. It's about trust. It's about knowing that their people are going to be taken care of. It's about they're going to get what they need when they need it. It's about knowing someone has their back. That's what it's about. And that's going to take some time to sort out. Okay? It's like any relationship. You have to build trust. And, those guys up there, those guys, men and women and others, wow, you want to talk about courage, bravery. Only they know their story. And, we should have been traveling our solar system hundreds of years ago. We could have been. We could have been. But there's no point looking at that. All we can do is today and try to focus on building for the future. Okay? And that all depends on what we build today and what we focus on today and what our intentions are today. That's the gift.
Okay, two people asking similar questions, B. Dale and Cliff Moser. Are there similarities between the downfall of Atlantis and the current path of transhumanism? And did Atlantis' turn towards technology also precipitate their lowering vibration down into third? Were they existing at higher dimensional density, higher vibrational density? And can you explain what you mean by density? Because if you got a higher density, it means you're heavier, doesn't it?
I got it. I know where they're going.
Okay, can you go with that?
Gentlemen, bingo. Bingo. You nailed it. That is exactly what's happening. It's history beginning to recreate itself. That is exactly right. And if you remember, well, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the very early stuff that I shared in the early 90s. But I talked about the root races, the 22 different root races that have their genetics here with us, that they're a part of us. And the reason they can intervene is because they have a genetic link to our humanity. And that's, I guess, a universal law. That is just a fact and a reality that intervention, mentorship, those things can occur when you are genetically linked to a specific race because they are an extension of family. That's how it's looked upon. Okay? Now, not all living things can hold soul. There are things that have been created that have no soul, that had no soul, because no soul wanted to be a part of it, wanted to connect with it because it was so, the frequency was so bad that soul could not connect to it. Those are called abominations. Those type of things should never be created. Because it's like giving a 5-year-old an atomic bomb. Most scientists are not spiritual people. It doesn't exist unless they can make it, the outcome occur over and over and over and over again. And that's their focus. That's how their mind is trained. They're not spiritual people. People who believe in spirit, that are in touch with their own soul, people who believe in God or believe in the creation, a creator, a spiritual presence, they don't create shit like this because they know it's not right. I don't know how far this is going to go. I do not know how far this transhumanism thing will go. I want you to understand that some of it has already occurred. That's what our super soldiers. And I want you to know that originally that whole program was to change human anatomy for space travel. And also for visitation with other star races. Human beings, trained and selectively chosen, have gone with other races to their home planets for a period of time and then have come back. In order to make that transition there and then back, they physically, genetically had to be modified. That has had some good results and it's had some absolutely horrific results. And one day we will know all about that. Okay, at some point in the future, all of this is going to be brought to the forefront when our history of who we are, where we've been, how we've got to this point is all laid out for us. It's coming. I just don't know a date. But it's definitely going to occur. It has to occur. Because how can we step into our power without knowing everything about ourselves? You can't. You have to know. Okay? And to truly step in your power, it is not a fight or flight type of response. That is not it. Okay? You don't have long-term self-reliance and self-empowerment with that kind of a response. So it's complicated. It is. It's complicated because there's so much going on and there was so much going on the whole time.
Which race or races influenced the founding fathers and helped inspire the beginnings of the United States?
Strangely enough, it would be those from the constellation of Sirius. And I'll tell you why. The Bill of Rights and specific concepts that are held not only in the Bill of Rights or the Declaration of Independence, but the Constitution were taught to us by the indigenous people, specifically the Six Nations of the Iroquois. Jefferson, Franklin, and others spent time talking to the chiefs of those nations and how they were able to get along and manage the peace with each other. And those concepts were actually used to craft the founding documents of the United States. Now, many of the indigenous Native American people, some of their bloodline, yes, some of it's connected to China, some of it's connected to Caucasians or to the Phoenicians. Some of it's also connected to the Europeans, the Chinese. But their philosophy, their style of living, their approach to nature, all of that came from Lemuria. All of that came from Lemuria. That's who they were. That's what that was all about. And they held on to those traditions longer than anybody else did on the planet. And we owe the Native Americans a great debt. They've given us so much, more than we even realize here in the United States. Legends, myth, and what happened to them was despicable, the way it was done. And I know, and it's funny, I just had this conversation with some friends, and I know that if we had to do it over again, it would be done differently, much, much differently than the way it was done the first time. But we owe them a great debt. We owe the indigenous people a great debt, and so do the other cultures and other nations, the Aborigines in Australia. The Australian people owe them a great debt, because who they are helped shape who the Australian people are. And it's interesting that here in the United States, there are many people gravitating back to the spiritual essences and frequencies of the Native American people, how they worship spirit, how they gave thanks in everything and in gratitude to the Great Spirit, to God, Creator. The treating of the land, the soil, being a caretaker, taking only what you need. All of that came from them. So that's a whole other conversation too.
If God said that his name is I am that I am, where did we get the name Jehovah?
Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. Well, everybody assumes that I am and Jehovah are one and the same. I don't believe that I am was even a person, the creator, only because the original Moses died of radiation poisoning from hanging out up there with that damn bush, which would imply that there was a ship up there which he didn't see. So why does God need a spaceship? To quote Star Trek, why does God need a spaceship? So none of it. No. In all probability and in all likelihood, I am that I am and Jehovah were either Nibiru or Anunnaki, based on the timelines. Okay? Now, they all had their own ulterior motives for what they did and when they did it and why they did it, some of which I've already shared, regarding the ivory and walking them through the desert for 40 years. It's interesting, 40 always comes up, right? But they were extraterrestrials. They were extraterrestrials playing God. It's the only answer I can give you. And I'm sure you can, I'm sure you already know that. If you research it enough to know, I am a loving and forgiving God who will punish you if you don't do exactly what I say. How does that equate? How does that equate? It's like Nancy Pelosi saying to the world yesterday, if you don't do what we say, there's going to be ramifications. There are going to be consequences to the American people if you don't do what we say. How does that equate to genuine, true leadership? It doesn't. It doesn't.
To use an Aikido metaphor, William Pepper, are you saying that the deep state, the regressive aliens or what have you, are being allowed to play their hand, their last-ditch attempt, so that their move can be used against them and thereby finish this business?
You got it. You got it. To use a chess vernacular, because I don't know about the Aikido. Checkmate? Is that? I think that's the term. Checkmate. Yes. You bet. Their arrogance is their downfall. Because they just never thought that it would unravel, number one. And number two, the movement of intent to undermine what they had been doing to humanity was so slick and so covert, they never saw it coming when it hit them. You understand? They never saw it coming. And que sera, sera. And they know it. They do know it, which is why they're lashing out. They're promising violence. They're promising wars. They're all pestilence. They're promising all this stuff unless we let them win. Are you kidding? You know? No. No. They have absolutely, just look at from 1900 to today, all the world wars. They created all those wars. They instigated all those wars. The lives that were destroyed, lost, countries, ways of life, for money. For money. Paper with pictures on it, which is all a fiat currency is. It's paper with a picture on it. They did all that for money. You want to let them stay in power? You want to let them win? No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Nope, not in our lifetime. That's not going to happen. You're going to see it. Stay tuned, because it's right around the corner. It so is. It so is. It's going to be profound, folks. It's absolutely going to be profound. The release of energy, the release, the earth and humanity, a enormous weight is going to be lifted from all of us. It's going to be a freeing, and it's going to be energy, because we won't have this negative narrative, negative field. We won't have all that shit hitting us all the time anymore. It will go away with that at the same time, because they're all going to go down together. Yep. And there ain't a hole deep enough in the earth for them to hide. There just isn't. You know? Because all you can do is seal up the top. Seal them in. See ya.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it insightful, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future updates. If you have any questions relating to today's video, please also leave them below. We read all the comments and take on board what our viewers have to say about Alex Collier's work. Remember, your support helps Alex Collier's knowledge and the messages from the Andromedans reach more people. If you'd like to support the channel even more, you can give us a super thanks tip by clicking the heart icon with a $sign. It really helps our team bring you more content. Also, be sure to visit alexcollier.org to sign up for our regular email newsletter. It's the best way to stay updated with the latest news, exclusive content, and upcoming live webinars. For the latest insights from Alex Collier, check out alexcollier.live. And if you want to explore over 250 past webinars, head over to alexcollier.tv. Thank you for being a part of this journey and supporting Alex Collier's work. We couldn't do this without you, and we're genuinely grateful for your support. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the vast mysteries of our universe. If you would like to see the Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we hold a live online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information on upcoming live webinars, please visit alexcollier.org.